All right, let's jump right into it. Today, we're unpacking a truly terrifying story. We're going to deconstruct a supernatural mystery drawn straight from the chilling horror narrative known as Unborn. So let's dive into this explainer and see exactly how a deeply rooted real-world social evil can morph into an absolutely inescapable ghost story. Okay, picture this. You've just arrived at your childhood home after years away, right? You step into the bathroom to wash up, but as you look in the steamed-up mirror, you don't just see your reflection, you see this phantom crying doll. And then, slowly, a message appears written on the glass. Aunt, you have arrived. No way, right? Well, that is exactly the bone-chilling greeting our main character, Momita, gets. It completely sets up this immediate, suffocating sense of dread that we're going to be dealing with today. So, the big mystery we need to solve right out of the gate is this. Why on earth would a family be absolutely terrified of their own daughter coming home? I mean, Momita had been strictly banned from visiting her maternal home in Bardhaman for 5 long years. Her family literally preferred traveling all the way to Mumbai just to keep her away. It's like, what could possibly make a family so afraid of their own flesh and blood just walking through the front door? Section 1. Mysterious Return to Bardhaman.
So we kick things off with Momita's highly anticipated but deeply unsettling return. And there's this wild contrast going on. On one side, you have Momita. She's absolutely thrilled. It's been 5 years, and as she's standing at the train doors with her husband Dev, she tells him she feels the excitement of a brand new bride returning home. But then, there's the family. Her father and brother are waiting at the railway station, and they aren't smiling. They are filled with absolute dread. Their very first words to her aren't, welcome back. But instead, a panicked, we told you not to come. Talk about a mood killer, right? It immediately tells us that something is horribly wrong the second she steps onto that platform.
Section 2. Fear and Unwanted Signs. Well, the tension definitely doesn't stay at the train station. That unease follows them right through the front door and quickly turns into straight-up fear. This homecoming is anything but normal. First off, her mother greets her with a jal ka kalash, a traditional water pot ritual. But it doesn't feel like a welcome. It feels more like she's desperately trying to ward off an evil eye. Once they're inside, the vibe is just suffocating. Everyone is communicating through these terrified, silent glances. Her sister-in-law, her Bobby, is looking around the room with this inexplicable anger, like she's searching for something invisible. And all of this culminates in Momita seeing that crying phantom doll we talked about earlier. These creepy occurrences finally push Momita to her breaking point. She confronts her mother and brother, demanding to know what massive secret they are hiding. And you know what? That confrontation breaks the dam. Her mother, carrying this unbearable guilt, finally starts to confess. Section 3. The Dark Truth of the Crematorium. What her mother outlines next is a sequence of events that is just truly grim. We are thrown into a dark flashback that reveals the horrible truth of what happened years ago. Step 1. Momita's brother drives his wife, who is 3 months pregnant, out to a secluded crematorium in the dead of night. Step 2. Bathed in the eerie light of a burning pyre, an Agri, basically a practitioner of dark arts, forces the terrified wife to drink this strange herbal potion. And then, step 3, the horrific result. The unborn female fetus is terminated. The source material really emphasizes the Bobby's utter helplessness here. She was completely powerless against her husband and her mother-in-law. They orchestrated the whole shebang just because they were obsessed with having a male heir. We really need to pause here for a second, because this concept is the factual anchor of our entire narrative, female feticide. This isn't just some spooky plot device, it's the central sin of the whole story. The text makes it crystal clear that the family's intense desire to avoid having a second daughter is the fundamental catalyst for everything that goes wrong. It's this specific, heinous act that quite literally invites a supernatural curse right into their living room. Section 4. Terrifying Revenge of the Unborn Spirit. As we all know, actions have consequences. And in this story, those consequences reach from beyond the grave. The haunting escalated incredibly fast. It starts out with these terrifying visions, like the unborn spirit actually appearing on the roof, crying tears of blood. But then it turns physical. The brother gets chased down a pitch-black road by an unseen force screaming right in his ears, which causes a bad motorcycle crash that lands him in the hospital. Next up, the mother is tormented by these agonizing cries of a baby, literally driving her to madness to the point where she's banging her head against the walls. And finally, the curse actually claims a physical life. The family's first niece dies under completely mysterious circumstances in the middle of the night. After the tragic death of that niece,
They found a chilling message written in her blood on the wall. It read, "You don't want a daughter, right? Now there will be no daughter in this house." Wow. This message is absolutely vital to the story. It entirely cements the entity's motive. We're not dealing with a mindless haunting here. This was targeted, poetic justice from a spirit that was wronged before it could even take its first breath.
So getting desperate, the family brings in a tantric, an exorcist. But even he fails to clear the house. He does, however, leave them with one ultimate warning. Never let a sister or daughter enter this house again. And boom, here we are. This completely solves our initial mystery. That failed exorcism and the tantric's warning is the exact reason Mamita was banned from visiting for 5 whole years. Her family wasn't just rejecting her for fun. They were desperately trying to protect her from the horrific curse that they themselves had created.
Section 5. End of a cursed family. But as you can probably guess, that protection completely failed the moment she crossed the threshold. This brings us to the devastating, present-day climax of our explainer. The end of this cursed family is just as chaotic as it is violent. When Momita finally hears the whole truth, she doesn't offer any comfort. None at all. She outright calls the act a crime, totally shutting down her mother's desperate plea that it was just a mistake. And almost immediately, invisible forces launch a fatal attack on Momita. Meanwhile, the Bobby, whose child was sacrificed in the first place, becomes fully possessed. Her eyes turn bright red with vengeance, and she starts mocking her mother-in-law's ruined family. It's intense. And the brother? Finally crushed by the overwhelming weight of his guilt, he grabs a knife and commits suicide right there in the room. Momita's poor husband, Dev, can literally only watch in helpless horror as the curse fulfills its bloody promise.
When the dust finally settles, we're left with a deeply tragic aftermath. The narrative shows us that while the original victims, the unborn child and that first niece, did finally find their peace, the cycle of horror didn't actually end. Momita, who died completely innocently as collateral damage to her family's sins, is now a vengeful spirit herself. She's said to wander the city of Bardhaman, forever seeking revenge against anyone who commits atrocities against young girls. Which brings us to a final, really provocative question I want to leave you with today. When humans commit acts that are more horrifying than ghosts, who becomes the real monster in the end? This whole explainer really highlights how profound real-world social evils can literally breed the absolute darkest of supernatural horrors. It's a heavy thought for sure, but a truly memorable one to take away. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive. Let this story linger a bit, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.